many college campuses have a campus president. And this is what we think. We think of the president as a very important individual. But I know I've had a few students ask me, what does a president do? A few family members ask me that. And so Audrey is here to tell us about the role of a college president.
As Milyon said, I'm Audrey Bilger, and I have been the Reed College president since July of 2019. I have made my way through several liberal arts colleges before I arrived here in the capacity of a faculty member for 25 years, dean of the faculty. And that's sort of one of the ways that one ends up in a college presidency, is having spent a long time in higher ed and gotten to the place where one, myself in this case, believes that one has something to contribute to help lead an institution. So I look forward to talking with you today about being college president at Reed College and having you think about what it would be like to join us here at Reed.
So why don't we start off with you telling us a little bit about how you became the president of Reed, and after that, tell us what a college president does.
I doubt that there's anyone who, when they're wee bit of a thing, it says to themselves, "I know what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be a college president." And I certainly wouldn't have. And in fact, when I was a kid growing up in Oklahoma, I didn't even know that places like Reed College existed. What I will say is that the path for me to becoming a college president, as I mentioned earlier, was having spent decades in the academy, been very committed to liberal arts teaching and the communities that liberal arts colleges provide to everyone who's involved in them. And so I really, after spending 2.5 decades as a faculty member in English, first at Oberlin College, then at Claremont McKenna College, I started thinking about doing work on an administrative level and became the dean of the faculty at Pomona College. So the Claremont McKenna, Pomona are two of the 5 Claremont colleges. And then I got the call. I got nominated to become the 16th president of Reed College, and I could not resist. And the connection has been profound. Reed is a perfect liberal arts college. Students they're exposed to a range of disciplines and fields they can explore. For every student who knows when they come to college exactly what they want to do, there are 20 or more who are in full-on exploration mode. Yeah. And I don't think there's a better place to do that exploring than a liberal arts college.
We know that the president of a college leads. What does that mean for, practically speaking? Students are here, and how will they engage in the president, and what do you do?
Well, practically speaking, it means a lot of meetings. Being a college president means seeing people face to face, talking about what's happening at the college, what needs to happen, both in terms of the operations, how to keep the lights on, are the lights on, getting everything up and running and working. But also I'd say, and this is where that the quality of fit and belonging as a president to the institution, it has to be immersive. So it was not in my path to take any presidency, and this really was the presidency for me. And you have to love the institution if you're the college president, and that is no labor for me at all. I love this institution, and so the other big thing that you do as the college president is you represent the institution. Having student office hours is important for me. And then also, because we're a small college, students can get in touch and get an appointment. Or I when I'm walking around, which I am on campus walking around every day, I run into students, I talk to them.
Folks are sort of curious, what is distinctive about Reed? What makes this place unique?
Yeah, it's something that I'm fully informed about. And among the things that I think make Reed distinctive is that there's a sort of joke among people who go around and take tours at college campuses, that sometimes you could close your eyes and you could be anywhere. And I have seen that before, where there's a sort of generic liberal arts college. Reed is not a generic liberal arts college. We have a really distinctive program. Part of that has to do with having a first year humanities core. All students take this humanities core and explore ancient traditions and explore the Harlem Renaissance and Mexico City. And so that's something that I think is quite special about Reed College. And then there's the sense in which nobody could be on the Reed College campus and imagine that you were anywhere other than the Pacific Northwest. It's gorgeous. There are trees. It's green. It's a very, very special location. For Reed, one of the advantages of being both in the city of Portland, we're in the southeast quadrant of Portland, it also means that the faculty, the staff live nearby. I'm in walking distance from campus. Many faculty are. Everybody can get here pretty quickly. And so that does create an even greater spirit of togetherness. People show up for things. And so I think that that's another distinctive feature, Milyon, that you don't see everywhere.
I see a few questions sort of about identity and diversity, but I first want to ask about identity from your perspective. Yeah, how do you bring your identity to this position of president?
Identity is authenticity, right? How do you bring your true self? It turns out for me, again, that the fit with Reed is perfect. The environment you see me in is a joint environment for my wife and me. We both love music, so it's nice to be in a community where that's also something that people take seriously. I mentioned being first gen. And I was first gen in the 1970s at Oklahoma State, when everybody was pretty much first gen then at that school. And I really came to understand even more fully what it meant to be coming from a first generation background when I went to graduate school at the University of Virginia. So that, that feature of identity for me is one that I feel, I feel like Reed College is simultaneously incredibly intellectual and down to earth. And that is really important. In terms of broader diversity, and, particularly as we think about anti-racism and anti-social injustice, when we think about coming together as a diverse campus, what often we'll hear from outside is, we'll hear people criticizing us for things that we supposedly get wrong. I think we get a lot of things right, and at the same time, this is, nobody's getting this right, and we have to just keep working on it. But that commitment to working and to constantly improving and paying attention and doing the work, that is something that we are committed to here at Reed.
Can you talk about some of the ways in which the campus supports and sponsors community?
Well, in terms of creating community, there are always an abundance of activities on campus, and I like to attend as many as I can, and sometimes I'll go with Cheryl. So it's nice just to show up and be there and be in the mix. So that's one way. I would say that there are different sorts of rituals that we have at Reed, some that I was able to participate in the 7 months before we went into the pandemic mode, including my first semester going out to witness the thing called the thesis parade. So this was for the seniors who had turned in their thesis to joyfully parade through campus in celebration of that accomplishment. There are ways in which we come together in places like music performances, or to see our really talented student actors perform. To be participating in the life of the college is it's one of the great privileges of being Reed's president.
That's great. Audrey, what do you think your vision for Reed is in the near future?
Well, I am looking forward to the big party that we're going to have. They'll be dancing. We'll be out on
When
the
we get
great
the
lawn.
announcement.
Yeah, as we feel safer to come together in large gatherings, that's a vision I have, is to have everyone swirling around. In terms of Reed's future, some of the most important things that I want us to keep doing at Reed, we talked about diversity. The anti-racist work that we're engaged in is really important for the future of Reed. I am somebody who believes that education is a public good, and this is a message that I feel has gotten lost, not really just in the 21st century, but even in that last decade of the 20th century. The idea that circulates is that students get a college education like something they can put on the wall or notch in the belt, or and that it's a sort of private good. And while it is enriching personally to everyone who comes through higher ed, the responsibility that we have as engaged members of society is one that I take very seriously, and one that resonates for me as I think about Reed's future. We want to keep sending out into the world students who are able to engage with the world, ask questions about the world, and leave it better than they found it.
Perhaps you could share some of the success stories and talk a bit about, just really briefly, how you've stayed in touch with folks that you've taught, and how that happens just organically.
Yeah, well, so I mean, I'm old enough that email happened when I had already started being a college professor, and so email certainly is one of the ways that the people keep in touch. And then some forms of social media have also been positive. And I will say that the sort of outpouring of love and support when something happens, like your wife wins a Grammy or you become appointed president of Reed College, to say, oh my gosh, this is so-and-so who took that class from me back in the year 2000. That is certainly one of the ways. I want to say too that my connections now to Reed alums are precious to me. And anybody I meet in the Reed community, whether they're here presently or they've been out for a year or 50 years, I'll ask them, what's your Reed story? What led you to Reed? What was your Reed experience like? And in collecting those stories, I feel like I take those in and they contribute to my sense of the larger story of us. What this college is. A college is always a work in progress, and it's a composite of everyone who passes through its doors.
Can you just give us 2 sentences about why student success continues to be one of your priorities?
Sure, Milyon. It is so important to me that every student who comes to Reed knows that they are here because they belong here. And so it's really easy for, I've seen this for, again, decades, for students to arrive at Reed having come from a background where they were maybe the only one like them or unique and special in their level of commitment. And then they're surrounded by lots of students who are also, one of the strongest students in the class, or somebody who also shares similar passions, and you can start to feel, like you might not belong. And what we really want to do is make sure that students know that they're seen, that we care about them. I think a lot about my own experience, feeling like I might have been behind because I didn't come from the level of preparation that even some of my friends had in terms of high school studies. And what's really important is that at a small school, there are always people here. You can ask for help. We have help available, and the academic program is rigorous. It's challenging. It's inspirational, and the goal is to help students come to the place where they achieve those goals and work at a very high level. So it's our responsibility to make sure that there are resources and supports, and again, that students know that Reed is where they belong.